What if the course of your entire life, your health, your sanity, even your destiny, was decided before you ever took your first breath? All because your ancestors believed power was worth more than biology. For centuries, royal families across the world willingly gambled with genetics, choosing political dominance over human well-being. The outcome was devastating: fragile bodies, fractured minds, and family trees so tangled they barely resembled trees at all. Today, we're uncovering some of the most disturbing and tragic examples of this obsession, women whose lives were shaped by generations of inbreeding. And as this list unfolds, the stories only grow more shocking. By the time we reach number 1, the scale of genetic sacrifice may leave you speechless. Number 10, Isabella II of Spain. Our list begins with Isabella II of Spain, who ruled between 1833 and 1868. Her reign was anything but glamorous, shadowed by the long-term consequences of extreme dynastic intermarriage. Born in 1830, Isabella's birth was initially celebrated, not because she was healthy, but because she existed at all. Her father had desperately hoped for a male heir, and when none arrived, Isabella became the reluctant solution. Yet concerns about her health, and that of her sister, appeared early on. Those concerns were hardly surprising. Isabella was the child of an uncle-niece marriage. Even more unsettling, her grandparents on one side of the family were also her great-grandparents on the other. Her lineage was a maze of repeated bloodlines. At just 16, she was married to her double second cousin. Isabella would go on to have 11 children, but only 5 survived past infancy. Many historians believe that her husband was not the biological father of any of those surviving children, suggesting a deeply strained marriage complicated by personal and political tensions. Eventually, Isabella lost her throne. But the deeper legacy she left behind was one of genetic entanglement, a cautionary tale of royal ambition overriding nature itself. Number 9, Marie-Louise of Austria. Next is Marie-Louise of Austria, born into one of the most tightly interwoven royal families in European history. Her parents were double first cousins, meaning they shared both sets of grandparents, a level of genetic overlap that was alarmingly common among European royalty. Tragedy followed predictably. Out of 12 siblings, only 7 lived to adulthood. Genetically, Marie-Louise had only 4 distinct great-grandparents instead of the usual 8, a level of genetic compression comparable to isolated human populations studied today. At 18, her life took a dramatic turn when she was married off to Napoleon Bonaparte, her father's former enemy. This marriage wasn't about love, it was a calculated political maneuver meant to secure peace and produce a male heir. Overnight, Marie-Louise went from sheltered princess to Empress of France, carrying the crushing expectations of an empire. Number 8, Lorraine Whittaker. Leaving royal courts behind, we move to a modern and deeply unsettling case, Lorraine Whittaker. Her story proves that extreme inbreeding is not confined to ancient dynasties, it still exists today. Documented in a widely known film, the Whittaker family became a real-life example of what happens when generations of isolation and intermarriage continue unchecked. Lorraine is considered one of the most inbred individuals ever recorded in modern times. She is also the mother of Timmy Whittaker, often cited as possibly the most genetically affected living person today. Their story is disturbing not because it is sensational, but because it reminds us that this human tragedy continues quietly in forgotten corners of the modern world. Number 7, Maria I of Portugal. Known officially as Maria the Pious, but remembered by many as Maria the Mad, this Portuguese queen's life was marked by mental decline and genetic burden. Born in 1734, Maria was the product of centuries of close royal marriages within the Iberian Peninsula. Her parents were part of a long line of Spanish and Portuguese royals who repeatedly married within their own bloodlines. Under immense pressure to preserve dynastic purity, Maria married her own uncle. The consequences were devastating. Half of her children died young, likely due to inherited genetic issues. As she aged, Maria's mental health deteriorated dramatically, eventually rendering her incapable of ruling. Her downfall was not caused by revolution or invasion, but by the slow, invisible damage of repeated inbreeding. Number 6, Marie-Louise Elizabeth d'Orléans. Marie-Louise Elizabeth d'Orléans lived a life that reads like a tragic Gothic novel. Her father was forced into marriage with his cousin, an illegitimate daughter of King Louis XIV. As the eldest surviving child, Marie-Louise had little control over her destiny. She was married to yet another cousin, Charles, Prince of Berry. She gave birth to 3 children, none of whom survived childhood. Whether genetics alone were responsible remains uncertain, but the pattern of loss was undeniable. By her early teens, Marie-Louise reportedly turned to alcohol, possibly as a means of escape from a life shaped entirely by dynastic obligation. Her story stands as one of emotional collapse under genetic and political pressure. Number 5, Princess Alexia of Greece. Born in 1965, Princess Alexia of Greece represents a more modern echo of royal inbreeding. Her parents, King Constantine II of Greece and Queen Anne-Marie of Denmark, were closely related, being both second and third cousins. Their shared ancestry created a double genetic connection rooted in European royal tradition. Constantine's family tree alone was deeply knotted. His great-grandparents were siblings, and one of his grandmothers was also the sister of his great-grandfather. Anne-Marie's lineage was similarly interconnected. Though their marriage appeared loving, the genetic overlap ensured their children, including Alexia, carried the inherited consequences of centuries-old royal customs. Number 4, Maria Antonia of Austria. Rarely discussed but genetically extraordinary, Maria Antonia of Austria may have been the most inbred Habsburg of all. Often, Charles II of Spain is cited as the ultimate victim of Habsburg inbreeding. Yet Maria Antonia's ancestry surpassed even his. Her family tree was not linear, it looped back on itself repeatedly. Genetically, her profile was comparable to that of a child born to full siblings. Despite this, history largely overlooks her, leaving her as a silent symbol of how extreme dynastic intermarriage truly became. Number 3, Mummies 317a and 317b. Number 3 takes us back over 3,000 years to ancient Egypt. Mummies known only as 317a and 317b are believed to be the stillborn daughters of Pharaoh Tutankhamun and his wife Ankhesenamun. These infants never ruled, but their remains tell a powerful story. Tutankhamun and Ankhesenamun were half-siblings, sharing the same father. This sibling marriage was part of a long-standing royal Egyptian tradition meant to preserve divine bloodlines. By the time their daughters were conceived, generations of genetic isolation had taken a severe toll. Both infants showed signs of deformities, a tragic consequence of dynastic obsession. Number 2, the Kimberley case. Our second entry is not royal, but it is one of the most disturbing modern examples of inbreeding ever uncovered. Known publicly under a pseudonym, Kimberley was born into an isolated Australian family cult that practiced multigenerational inbreeding. The group lived completely cut off from society, creating a closed genetic loop. When authorities finally intervened, they uncovered widespread abuse, leading to multiple arrests and investigations. Kimberley emerged as one of the most genetically compromised individuals ever documented. Her story highlights how devastating the consequences of isolation and unchecked control can be, even in the modern age. Number 1, Cleopatra II Philopator. At the top of our list stands Cleopatra II Philopator, the ultimate embodiment of inbreeding as a political strategy. This is not the romanticized Cleopatra of cinema. She was a product of the Ptolemaic dynasty, a Greek Macedonian royal house ruling Egypt that relentlessly practiced sibling and uncle-niece marriages. Cleopatra's parents were siblings. Her grandparents were siblings. Her own siblings married each other. Generation after generation, power was preserved through blood alone. She ruled with strength and intelligence, yet her very biology bore the immense cost of dynastic obsession. Cleopatra II was not just a ruler, she was the genetic culmination of centuries of calculated lineage control. From glittering palaces to forgotten villages, these stories reveal a harsh truth: history is shaped not only by wars and politics, but by the silent consequences of biology. These women's lives stand as reminders that the pursuit of purity and power often leaves behind a legacy of suffering.